Hello, friends. Today's story was brought to us by Roll Up. Sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy their story. Man living among us in our summer camp house for a while. Admittedly, I've been a lurker on this sub for a few years now. I've tried to type out my story numerous times, but always struggled to wade through the pieces as they've gotten more and more jumbled and foggy with time. I can't say I was traumatized by what happened. I'm not sure if it makes me a fucked up person, but I typically tell this story at parties to manipulate drunk acquaintances into thinking I've survived something cool. Okay, let's get into it. In 2015, I was 19 and working for the summer at a Bible camp for inner city kids. I'm going to leave out the city name, but just know that obviously crime occurs frequently in big cities, and this one was no different. I had been assured that this neighborhood, however, was in the process of being gentrified, and they had even just opened up a hipster coffee shop, dog park, right down the street. Just to give you a really clear visual, this neighborhood had dilapidated houses with trash out in the front, right next to houses with immaculate yards and square modern architecture. The Bible camp where I was working was essentially just a huge 2-story house with a large fenced-in yard. Again, we were assured that we were safe though, because we had bars on the windows, and the outer doors locked automatically when they shut. The camp was conducted downstairs, and the summer counselors, there were 4 of us, lived in the small upstairs that was off limits during the day to the kids. Our camp ran 5 days a week, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and then time was ours to explore the city, or rest or whatever. Probably enough to get to the story now. I love a good setting, and it could be important later. One weekend night in July, we were all just hanging in the house making a spaghetti dinner. We each got our own stipend for food, so we divided it accordingly for meals, then bought our own snacks and shit. We were also in charge of preparing lunch and snacks for the kids on camp days, so we had 2 fridges and 2 pantries. As you can probably guess, we labeled them camp fridge, pantry, and one is labeled staff fridge, pantry. We also were super fucking petty and wrote our names all over our snacks in the fridge. My best friend worked at the camp with me. We will call her Chris, and it was our turn to cook that night, so I went into the staff fridge to grab the ground beef. I immediately noticed that my case of Go-Gurts is gone. They were my go-to snack, and I bought like 3 cases a week. I had just opened my last box like an hour before to have one and left it in front of the ground beef. It sounds crazy, but I knew I did. I close the fridge door and head to the dining room, Chris closely behind me, and yell at everyone else, "Who stole all my Go-Gurt?" That night, in addition to Chris and myself, there were the 2 other summer counselors, 2 permanent counselors that lived in the area, and then the cousin of one of the permanent counselors. Everyone looked at me wide-eyed, then looked around blankly. I figured it was the cousin because I had never met her before, so I sucked it up, said, "Whatever, just if it has a name on it, please don't eat it." Then pull Chris back in the kitchen to finish up the spaghetti. We all eat dinner, and then the 2 permanent counselors volunteer to do the dishes because we let them eat with us. The rest of us head back upstairs to get comfy in the sitting room, on the couches, and turn on Family Guy. We're only like 2 mins in when the cousin, we'll call her Sarah, says, "Wait, I can't find my phone or wallet." I pause the show and roll my eyes, still annoyed about the Go-Gurt. Chris says, "Where did you last have them?" and Sarah says she left them on the couch before we went downstairs to dinner. Naturally, we all start looking around the small room, turning over couch cushions, looking under the couches, behind them, under blankets, really wherever. Finally, we're like, "Are you sure you didn't leave them downstairs?" She agrees to head downstairs to look with the other two, and Chris and I go into our room, which is connected to the sitting room. We flop down on the bottom of our bunk bed, and I proceed to talk shit about Sarah, who I feel like is ruining our chill night. Our door is open, and I'm shocked when I see a hand kind of sneak into view, like it's going to grab the door frame. I say, "Hey, did you find them?" Thinking that Sarah or the other two have somehow made it back upstairs without me hearing them and have heard me talk shit for the past 5 minutes. But the hand immediately disappears out of the door frame and there's no response. I look at Chris like WTF, and she's looking back at me confused because she never saw the hand. I quickly explain what happened, and then we both jump up and head to the top of the stairs. We yell down for the others, and they yell back that they haven't found them yet. By this point, I'm freaked the fuck out because who is up here with us? Of course we're those people though, and we start looking around upstairs in our bedroom, the other bedroom, and in the sitting room. We find nothing and no one. We decide not to say anything yet because I might sound insane. And also, how could someone have gotten downstairs so fast without us hearing them? When we get downstairs, Sarah is super upset and crying. Her cousin says, "Come on, guys. Did someone take her stuff?" But Chris and I both know we didn't, and we say so. Sarah screams that obviously someone took them, and we should just be honest, and then things get heated. I finally decide then to tell them about the hand because I feel like it will maybe reduce the tension between us. It does, but then everyone panics. We run around the house like maniacs, looking in every closet or hiding place the kids use, and find nothing and no one. We end up calling our camp director to come over because the situation has just evolved into chaos. When he gets there, we're all sitting huddled in the foyer freaked out, and we explain what we can. He just doesn't seem convinced that someone was in the house and threatens to call the cops if one of us doesn't give Sarah back her things. Well, none of us fess up, so he calls the cops, and they come over and search the property and take our statements. It seems so dumb as we repeat our stories, but we didn't have much to go off of but a feeling. They do write a report for stolen property, and that makes Sarah feel better at least. With the house secure, everyone leaves except us 4 summer counselors who live there. We spend the night in the same room with the door barricaded, reassuring ourselves that we're being stupid, and the phone and wallet will actually turn up somewhere random, and we will laugh about it. Fast forward a few days. We've relaxed a bit. We haven't found Sarah's things, like we expected, but nothing else weird has happened. And we've been occupied with the kids and the job in general. The kids have all gone home at this point, and it's just the 4 of us again at the house. We finish cleaning up the outside, lock the gate, and head in the dining room door. We're all hungry and want snacks. Chris gets to the kitchen first and says, "Someone left the kitchen door open again." I mean, it's kinda weird, but kids go in and out that door all day. So of all the doors to be open, this is the least weird. She shuts it, and then I notice that the staff fridge door is also cracked open. Then who knows what possessed me, but I go, "Oh no, y'all, he's back." We all laugh because we think this is ridiculous. Chris grabs a broom, holds it as a weapon, and says, "Let's get him, girls." she starts to throw open the pantry doors, screaming, "Where the fuck are you, motherfucker? And we know you're in here. Show yourself." I'm following behind her laughing, but I start to inexplicably feel uneasy and nervous. She continues her charade into the next room, throwing open 2 more closet doors. Then moves into the front room and opens that closet door. She starts another confident, "We know you're," when she stops mid-sentence and screams so loudly skin on my neck prickles. Then she throws the broom in the closet and sprints out the front door, leaving it open. My heart is pounding so fucking hard at this point, but I'm thinking she's messing with us. So I turn around and go the other way, into the foyer and out the front door. I see her booking it down the street towards the coffee shop, and I'm like, okay, what is she doing? As soon as I turn back around to find the others, he's just there. Older man, looks really dirty, has hardly any teeth. He's just grinning at me. He has his hands up and says, "I didn't mean no harm," while slowly backing away down the street in the other direction. It's so creepy because even though he says this, it's like he doesn't mean it. It's like his tone and the grin are mocking me. I'm frozen for a second, then I sputter out, "You can't just, leave." And he just says again with that goddamn grin, "I didn't mean no harm," then turns and runs. I fumble in my pocket for my phone and dial 911, then go to follow him. But as soon as I reach the edge of the house, he's gone. Next events are kind of a blur. Sounds wild, but we really all thought we just freaked ourselves out. No way in hell did we actually think someone was in the house. The cops took our statements and reminded us that we needed to keep the door shut at all times no matter what. Our director apologized profusely for not initially believing us. My parents wanted me to come back home for the remainder of the summer, but I was like, hey, what else could happen? Chris was the one who had it the worst. She was terrified to stay in that house. She told me later that when she opened the door, he was just grinning at her with dead eyes, like he was waiting for her to finally find him. She said she will never forget his face. We're still best friends at almost 30, and I can't bring up that summer to her if she hasn't been drinking. That's basically it. I think what kept me up at night after that were just unanswered questions. Like, how long had he been in the house? Why did he randomly decide to take the phone and wallet of the one person who didn't work there? Had he listened to our private conversations? Watched us get dressed and shower? How much food had he stolen that we didn't notice? Where the fuck had he gone when we were looking for him on spaghetti night? What hiding places did we miss? Was he under my bed at night or at any point during my stay? IDK all these answers, and I know I'll never have them, but I'm thankful our interaction wasn't worse, I guess. So, creepy grinning squatter who lived among us for God knows how long, let's not meet.